Today we are joined by Artiom, Kane, and Arno, and they're going to take turns to demonstrate some of the new features released in the August 2022 Power BI release. So firstly, I'll throw to Artiom. Over to you, mate, to present on conditional formatting of data labels.
Thank you, Blake. Hello, everyone. Well, as Blake mentioned, I will be talking today about the update related to conditional formatting of data labels in Power BI for some visuals. For that purpose, I will use my demo report and this line chart that shows me percentage of returns of my sales. And I should say that conditional formatting of data labels has been here, but the update is related to the way it basically works. So previously you could format color for your data labels based on conditional formatting, but only for all labels. Well, now you can do that at individual data point level, and I will show that in a moment. So this line chart, as I said, shows me percentage of returns of my sales, and it's dynamic. So if I use my slicers or do cross filtering, it will show me the corresponding values. And let's say we have a scenario when we need to check whether a particular threshold was reached in a particular month. So let's say we have a threshold of 15% of percentage of returns, and we say that we should not go over 15%, or if it's 15%, that's a problem. And to spot that without using conditional formatting, we need just to check each and every data label and see, okay, we've got 15% here, that's a problem, but that's a really difficult task and challenging. And so especially if all labels showing me values pretty close to 15%. So with new conditional formatting feature, it's now very easy to do, and I will show that in a moment. So I'm going to my settings, data labels, and I say to Power BI, please use conditional formatting for my values. I will switch to rules in format style. I already have percentage of returns measure here, and I will say when it is more than 0 and less than 15%, please show me labels in gray color. If it is equal, more or equal than 15% and less than maximum, please use red for labels. I click OK, and I will do the same. So I will select particular category, and boom, I see 15% colored with red, which is great. So easy. I can spot my problematic months very easily just using my filter slicers. So it's not challenging anymore. And in this release, Power BI team said that, okay, there is a limitation. And with this release, you cannot do that when you have a value in your legend field. So it simply will not work, but they promise to fix it in the next release. However, I did some experiments and I found that you can use small multipliers, and that works perfectly well. So for example, I will bring in continent here, and you see, so conditional formatting applied for each line which represents my continents, and I can bring in countries, and that will work the same way. And I'm quite happy about that. So it does what I expected it to do. However, I also discovered a small bug, which I will also show you in a moment. So it turns out that if you don't explicitly specify which color you want to use below 15%, it will work not as it should. So if I do the same like I did before, so it detected 15% threshold and it colored it with red. By some reason, it also colored all following data points with red. Also, they are less than 15%. And that's definitely a bug. So it should not work this way. And I hope Power BI team will fix that. But if you set your rules as I did the first time, there are no issues, and it's a great feature which I think will benefit many business customers. Yeah, that's pretty much from me for today.
Fantastic. Thanks, Artiom. Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, really good use case if you've got thousands of data points, but that bug's a bit of a weird one.
Yeah, I agree.
Highlighting everything after it's met. Awesome. Thanks, mate. And over to Kane to present on metric visuals.
Thanks, Blake. I'll share my screen. Yeah, so what I wanted to talk about today is the new feature added to the metric visual, which is specifically the ability to add a single metric to a report. So you just click on the metrics visual and click add metrics, and you'll now get this choice between the metrics as a list, which is what the metrics have always been so far, or to add metrics as a visual. You can click on browse metrics, which will give you the ability to choose an existing metric to add, or you can choose create new. And once you've opened up this dialog, you can name it. Now, these are the interesting parts. You can enter a value. You can connect to, if I can just enter anything, you can connect to data. Now, this can be data that's in a data set within the report that you're working in, if you've published it, or it can be any other report. So I can click on another report, click next, and pull out any data point that I want from a report. And it'll have a live connection to that data point. Alternatively, you can click the edit button here, and you can actually enter dates with a little calendar and targets, and you can enter as much as that as you like. So you can, I'll just put one in as a test here. So there's a bunch of options for entering your targets. You can then set your start and end dates, and then you can assign the metric to someone in your organization. And then you can set the status, and you can also set up rules, conditional rules about when to change the status if things go over a certain threshold or below a certain threshold. So what's cool about it is you do get quite a nice, here's one I prepared earlier, you get a nice little card that is quite an easy way to add a KPI card to your reports. But the power of it is that you can connect this card to any kind of report that's published to the service, so it can go across data sets. You also get the ability of metrics to assign the card to someone, and it's giving user interactivity to the card. So it's not just a static card that shows an amount. Users can come and click on the notes, and they get their get taken into this traditional metrics view where they can add a check-in, they can add notes, they can delve into all the details. Now, I have found it to be fairly buggy. You're supposed to get a nice chart like this one, which I have here on the card, which shows your metric against milestones and target. I haven't figured out how I can actually get that to show on the card yet. And I've also found some strange behavior when you click on it and click in the formatting options. At the moment, there's limited formatting options, but at other times, there's more formatting options here. I think if I click on edit, it might bring them up. Yeah, it's a strange one. You do get all of these options in here at times, which show you can turn different elements of the card on and off. You can turn off the dates, you can turn off the notes, you can turn on the monthly growth. So I think it's still got a bit of work to be done. So one of the interesting things is when you create this metric in a report, strangely, the data is actually saved into a data set that gets saved into my workspace in the Power BI service. Which, if you know what my workspace is, it's quite useless. It's just a personal workspace for messing around, but the data gets saved there. Now you can, from the service, there's a preview feature that allows you to copy and move data sets from my workspace to another one. So it's in preview, and I also found that quite buggy, but you can move it to another workspace and then live connect to the data set that gets fed from these cards, and it gives you this fairly strange data model that you can connect to and build further reports off of the data set that the metrics is generating. So It is interesting in that Power BI is giving kind of right back functionality by adding these cards and letting users enter data against them, track data, and then it flows into a strange data set behind it. So a few things to explore there. It's an interesting feature. I think it's coming along. I'll hand back to you, Blake.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. Yeah, it's really interesting that it goes to a data set, but very unusual that it goes back to your workspace.
Yeah.
quite unusual. Very interesting. Thanks, mate. Actually, in terms of the bugs as well, so are the bugs only for the metric visual, or are they for the metric list?
So far, just the metric visual that's all I've found is playing around with the new metric, single metric visual. Hard. Sometimes the settings are accessible. Sometimes they haven't been able to get the line graph to show. So could be something I'm doing wrong, but they didn't seem really easy to work with yet. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, brilliant. All right, very interesting. Thanks, Kane. And last but not least, we've got Arno, who's going to be presenting on formatting text boxes in the mobile layout view.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Blake. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick demo just to show you what the new feature is. So this text box that we're seeing here, you can now insert that in the mobile layout, and you can also apply formatting it. So I'm just going to go to the mobile layout. So what we've got here is I'm just going to quickly just put a chart together. Little mobile responsive layout, and then the new feature I'll show you now. So this is very quick. So what you can do now is you've got the text box here. You can actually now go and put the text box in, and at the same time you can actually format the text box. So they've given us this new feature. So you can go and put it in 2017. You can change the font, maybe make it a bit smaller. Let's do 14. Maybe not, sorry, 14. Could center it. You can change the color. The one thing that they haven't brought out yet is in the desktop page layout, you can actually put values in here, so you can make dynamic text fields. So I think currently it's just static. What you can also do is you can reset. So any mobile changes that you make, you can reset that by clicking that button. Yeah, so that's just a quick overview of the new feature. So this is the one that's over here. You can now just do formatting on the text box. All right, that's me. Thanks, Blake.
Perfect. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's it for the monthly update for the August 2022 Power BI release. Hope everyone got some value out of those presentations, and we'll see you again next month. Thanks a lot. See you later.
Thanks, guys.